But the chances your grandparents could read if you were born in 1975 is about 30%. Your grandparents. Now, chances are, for most people, your grandparents were born somewhere around here, so the odds for them are higher. But depending on where you're from, globally, they would be 30%. Your great-grandparents, 21%, and your 3 times great-grandparents, less than 20%. The point is, you don't have to go back very many generations before none of your ancestors can read. This is not the end of reading. This is the beginning of reading. And if we look at this globally, interestingly, neither the United States or Canada make the top 10 most literate nations in the world, according to UNESCO. They come in at 99%. But what's interesting about this to me is the 10 least literate nations. The least literate nation in the world for which we have data, and we have data for most of them, there are a few sort of island nations and places where we don't, is South Sudan with a 27% literary rate, i.e. it's higher than the world was 70 years ago. This is how fast the world is learning to read.
You have to think carefully about calls to action. Not every content passage results in a sale. We're not putting the content online so that we can have a one-to-one relationship in sales. You have to be mindful of the value of keeping a prospect close enough at least to obtain an email. You have to learn, but after that, you have to learn about their interests, and you have to follow their behaviors before you start contacting them with subsequent offers and additional content. You want to mine the data that you have and the data that you can make available to yourself for insight, not for monetization, particularly at the outset.
And then we did things like this. We looked at, let's take a handful of award winners, right? Books people really want to buy. They're celebrated. These are the greatest things to read in the land. So here's a cluster of Canadian award winners from last year, and we looked at, what was the open rate on them, and it's a wide swing. And the first thing you notice is the absolute best one is still not 100%. People buy books and they don't open them. This was true in print. It's still true in digital. The notion of acquiring for your future self that has more leisure time than your present self, that hasn't gone away. We still believe our future selves have more time for leisure than we do. And that's wonderful because dreams are important. And but there's this massive, massive swing. Remember, these are award winners. You've got 1 in 5 people who bought this actually got around to cracking it open. So they felt well enough disposed towards it to plunk over their money, but when it came time to spending their leisure time, they found something else to do.
The generation that we expected to bring the ebook revolution to fruition, the quote-unquote digital native, either doesn't really exist or just isn't that interested in preferring ebooks over print. Ebooks have flattened out significantly, and according to BNC, publishers are reporting that sales of ebooks represent, let's say, 15% of their overall sales. This is not utter doom and gloom about the ebook business, but I think it does suggest that the ebook proposition was framed incorrectly. It should not be an either-or debate, but a case of one with the other, dictated by convenience. And the numbers bear this out. In Canada, about 58% of people who had read an ebook in 2012 or read a print book in 2012 had also read an ebook. And the numbers are similar stateside. In January 2014, Pew reported that 76% of Americans had read a print book and 28% of them had also read an ebook. Although every report I see tells me that on both sides of the border, purchases of e-readers and tablets are on the rise, the fact of the matter is that actually only 4% of readers have gone digital only.
Intimacy. Thoughtful use of sound design, atmospherics, music, understanding that people need something to hold on to when they listen and engage with a new property. Once you get that figured out, you can enter someone's interiority. You can speak directly to their mind. Trust. You can't replicate this with a few marketing interns and an iPhone. This is something that is thoughtful, needs to be designed from the ground up as something that you can do and give to the listeners. I mean, you need to respect their time. They're taking the time to download you, to listen to you, to then form an opinion. And in this day and age, that's another form of labor. And if you can give them something, even if it's as simple as just entertainment, a laugh, a raised eyebrow, sure, they'll still love you for it. You value the fact your listeners took that time, and they will always reward you. Ultimately, with this, loyalty. As I said, they will follow you anywhere. If you pivot into a new podcast, they will follow you. If you happen to go somewhere else, if you just, change jobs, oddly enough, they will follow you. They will talk about you. They will want to help you. They will suggest funding drives, initiatives. They will do the labor of marketing for you. This has happened time and time again with our shows, and it's extremely powerful. What this all means is the power of a podcast is to create a long-term relationship with the audience, one that extends past a book's on sale, one that goes beyond a certain genre being really hip right now. It's commitment. It's a trust.
Another great way to engage with teachers is when they call the office. We always answer the phone at ORCAT, and we encourage our customer service people to have conversations rather than transactions. Our main phone person attends our weekly marketing meetings, and many of us, including our publisher, answer the phone when things get busy. It's a great opportunity to learn what's going on with your customers. It is such a core factor in ORCA's success that I almost called this talk Why You Need to Answer the Phone.
One of the big questions that I always get, or the big concerns, is this type of a program worth it? Not just from a financial perspective, but also there's a fair amount of personnel that needs to be involved in this around the company. It can be a fairly large undertaking. And I think if you ask around Scholastic, the resounding response will be yes, if for no other reason than the fact that we've had so much success with this program. All 4 of these series have gone on to be bestsellers and be quite successful. And we like to think of this as not a book and a game, but a product as a whole that will succeed together.
As product developers, the opportunity we're most excited about is making sales data more flexible in its architecture and in its design. So this way we can easily incorporate new types of reports for new types of data in the future without having to fully change the overall system.
It's really about understanding our readers better. That's what our research is all about. It's about getting a context of what's going on in the industry and getting a feel for what's happening. But it's really about our readers. It's really about getting away from this, right? We use this term a lot. We talk about it a lot in BookNet. I think in the book industry is really married to anecdata for some reason. There's so much talk, but the data is they never really tell you where the data comes from and things like that. So it feels really, really, uncomfortable. This is the science side we want to talk about, not the anecdotal side.
So what I tend to observe in my organization, maybe yours, is that we are very focused on the product. So we've imagined a solution that people want, and what we want to do is make sure that solution works. We're focused on the product. But in a lot of ways, newer ventures focus more on the problem. What are the people trying to do? How do we help them do that? They don't presume the solution. And one of the problems you have in an established organization is you have this set assumption.
Almost all of us are trying to solve the same things. We're all trying to solve the fact that most ebook rendering is shit. And yet, we're all doing it by ourselves, and we're not sharing code with each other, and we're making all of our lives hell, whereas instead, we could all be working together on these things.
Information is an abstraction. It wants nothing. But people want to be free, and in the 21st century, when we are wiring up the nervous system of the information age, the way that you make people free is with free and fair information infrastructure. When we focus on how to regulate the internet to improve the lot of the 0.0001% of the world who are in there living from the arts, we treat the net as though it were a glorified video-on-demand service. But it's not. It's not a system for recruiting jihadis. It's not the world's greatest pornography distribution system. It is the nervous system of the 21st century through which everything we do is increasingly mediated. As I said at the start of this talk, everything we do today involves the internet, and everything we do tomorrow will require it.